I'm Jen, I make candles, and I'm going to show you the candle making process over the next 3 minutes. The first step is to melt the wax, and I use a wax melter because it just saves so much time. It's basically a crock pot. The flaming candle scent I'm using is eucalyptus, and this is for a candle called Let That Shit Go. I've already done all the calculations about how much wax and fragrance oil. There is a formula that you need to use, and I save time by putting all of this on a cheat sheet that I just use each time I pour the candles. So now that the warning labels are on, I am applying the wicks to the jars, and this is a good thing to do while the wax is cooling down to the right temperature. If you weren't aware, candle making is very scientific. It's all about the measurements, the ratios, and the temperatures. I kind of think of it as baking, but without all the calories. For the fragrance oil to bind to the wax, you need to stir it for 2 minutes. And if you go too vigorously, you're going to create air bubbles, which can affect the performance of the candle. So this is the actual speed that I stir. Here I'm using chip clips to hold the wick in place while I pour the wax. Some people do this step after they pour, but I just think it's easier to see if it's centered if I do it before that point. This is an infrared thermometer that I use. I was just tired of the traditional thermometers. This one's a lot faster and cleaner. I started pouring the wax into the jar on the kitchen scale to see exactly how much is in there. It's good for labeling requirements, but also it saves on materials. It's definitely easier to just eyeball this, so it's not really necessary if this is a candle for personal use, but I just want to make sure I'm not shortchanging people when I say that they're getting a 4-ounce or a 7-ounce candle. Now that the wax is hardened, these need to cure for a few days so that the fragrance is just going to be that much stronger. I love using the heat gun at this stage. Basically, the heat gun is just for aesthetics. It smooths out the top of the candle by remelting the top layer of wax, but the sound is like a blow dryer and it's just ASMR. Now it's time to trim the wicks, and the pair of scissors I'm using are called a wick trimmer, which are listed on my website. I make my own labels, and if you're curious about how to do that, check out my pinned video where I show you the process. It saves so much time and money. This is the last step. However, I do need to still list these on my website, so that'll be a separate process, but for now, these are all done. Like and follow for more candle content.